everybody, and welcome back to Dixie's Digest. As you may know, I'm Miss Dixie Stock Show 2020, Jessica Dawn, and today I'm going to be telling you the story behind my heart surgery at 18. So let's paint the setting. I was 18 years old and we were going on our senior trip at Disney World, the best place on earth, the happiest place on earth, the place that's closed because of the coronavirus. Anyway, so a little bit of history on me. I have always been a really active person when it comes to being playful and playing sports and running around. I even participated in CrossFit to prepare for Miss Louisiana's Outstanding Teen. I had played basketball and volleyball, done cheer, done dance. I was a rambunctious child, so being active wasn't strange for me. But I do remember complaining in my later teenage years about this feeling that my heart was pounding against my chest, and it didn't feel fast, it just felt hard, and it felt so strange for me. There was no real way to explain it, and I still struggle to this day to explain what exactly I was feeling. But I had went to my doctor, gotten all of the tests and checkups that I could get, to no avail. There was nothing that they can see that there was something wrong to diagnose and treat. So I went on as normal. Flash forward to being 18 years old and going to Disney World, the happiest place on earth. I love Disney World. I was just in great spirits. I was very excited to be done with high school, entering college, and going to my favorite place that I can absolutely go to. So I wasn't feeling strange, I wasn't feeling odd, and I had felt like it was a normal day. We took the long bus ride there. We spent multiple days between there and Universal Studios, and we got to the ride Tower of Terror. Yeah, I have a little PTSD from then. No, I mean, it's all in the name. It was a scary ride. I love amusement rides, but there was something about the drop of these type of rides that I didn't necessarily like. So we were in line, and I remember very specifically my friend Val being in line with me. I know we were with a couple of other people, and I actually have photos that I might be able to input here and here. But yeah, I remember telling them that I was pretty scared for probably the entire line, and we know that Disney World has pretty long lines. I don't know, I was very weary. I knew that I didn't like this ride. I was just going to be with my friends because we were together the whole entire time, and I didn't want to wait outside and not experience what they were feeling, and I was afraid of FOMO, fear of missing out. So I went on the ride with them. I wanted that photo, I wanted that experience, I wanted that memory. But I distinctly remember telling my friend Val that I was feeling my heart almost palpitate. And I knew to say this because we were all nursing minors in high school, so we all had, previous education on topics like these. And I knew that I didn't feel right. I trusted my body that something felt wrong, but they were convinced that it was just because I was scared of the ride. And they're like, oh, you're just a scaredy cat, you're nervous, it's fine. I was like, no, feel my heart. And I remember making him feel my chest because it was like so much faster and so much harder than I had ever experienced. And I thought, there's no way that I'm just this afraid of the ride. But I just brushed it up to being scared because shortly after riding, I didn't notice this feeling anymore. And it wasn't until the bus ride back home that I started feeling other symptoms. Now, I didn't feel this pounding or whatever sensation, but I was starting to get very hot, and it was like burning from within. And it was just so hard to explain. And I remembered, okay, maybe I just need sleep. So I made a little comfy spot in the aisleway of the seats, and I took a nap. And I thought to myself when I woke up in sweats that, I thought that the heat from the bus underneath went through the floor and got me hot, and maybe that's why I'm sweating so much. So again, I'm brushing symptoms that are very serious under the rug. So I get home and I said, okay, again, let me just try to nap this off. And before going to take my nap, I remember horse playing with my friend, and it was like I felt a soreness right on the top of my rib cage like I had never felt before. It was so sensitive to the touch. It was almost like a huge bruise was there, but it was on the inside. I started to get a little concerned, and I just told myself, okay, I'm just gonna sleep this off. If I still feel weird when I wake up, I will go to the emergency room. The only reason I didn't go right away is because I've been there several times. I've had health scares with many other things in my life, and I knew the process. I knew I was going to be there for hours. I knew that they were going to just see me, give me a little something, tell me to go home and see a doctor. So I was like, why can't I just avoid all of this and go see my primary care physician when possible? Well, as a nursing student who doesn't want to use the emergency room as a primary care physician, maybe I should have thought otherwise when I was feeling such severe symptoms. So I take my nap, which was lovely, but I woke up feeling more nauseated than I have been in my entire life. And it was a feeling that was different. It wasn't just that I was gonna throw up. It felt like something was wrong. Something wasn't right. And I told my mom, okay, I think it's time. I think we need to go to the emergency room. I wanted to remain calm because my mom, she's a worrisome mother, of course, because she cares about me. She loves me. But I didn't want her to worry more than she needed to. I know exactly what I was experiencing, and as soon as my mom told my nurse sister what was going on, she pretty much knew what I was experiencing, especially when she told her what it was saying on all of the heart monitors and what they had just rolled into my room, which what I now know as a crash cart, just in case they would have to resuscitate me, because they were giving me a random mix of medications. I remember walking in, and when they took my vitals to put me in the waiting room for triage, I will never forget that man's face when he saw my heart rate. For those of you that are unfamiliar with this, a resting heart rate is usually between 60 to 90 beats per minute. Mine was just over 190. And I was sitting in a chair. So that was concerning. When they rushed me back there, they gave me not only the pain medicine, but they also gave me, apparently, and I could be wrong, I would probably need to get a little bit more information, probably from a nurse, probably from a sister. But what the nurse explained to me in that situation was that she was about to give me a medicine that would essentially reset my heart. They were so concerned what this could do for me that they brought in the crash cart, and that is what made my sister so concerned and floor the gas pedal in her car to get to that hospital, because she was concerned. And I know that if she's worried, there's something to be worried about. But I do have a clear, vivid memory feeling that I felt a sense of peace. I guess it really could have been the medicine, but what are you gonna do in that situation other than just take it minute by minute? So the ER physician that came in, he was very young, relatively new to being a physician. He explained this, and he actually was very excited to have me as a patient, because Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome is very rare, but what he didn't realize at first was that that is what it was. He actually thought I needed to get my gallbladder removed the morning after as an emergency surgery. Because it is such a rare situation, he was finding many other alternative issues that I could have been experiencing, but in all reality, he was throwing the fear into my 18-year-old body, and that is when I started to be gravely concerned, especially because I had never had such a serious surgery in my life. I was transferred to Children's Hospital in New Orleans, which is why I love to fundraise for them so much, because they saved my life. Please consider using the donation link in the description to make a donation to the children who also need such medical care. But they actually figured out exactly what was wrong, and they told me I would not need gallbladder surgery. That inflammation would go down as soon as my heart rate went down, as soon as everything went back to normal, but that I would need heart surgery relatively soon. It's called an ablation. I'm gonna look this up just so that I am not wrong. Good old Google says, cardiac ablation is a procedure that can correct heart rhythm problems, arrhythmias, Cardiac ablation works by scarring or destroying tissue in your heart that triggers or sustains an abnormal heart rhythm. In some cases, cardiac ablation prevents abnormal electrical signals from entering your heart and thus stops the arrhythmia. And just to give you a little bit of Google information on Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, it is a syndrome in which extra electrical pathway in the heart causes a rapid heartbeat. The extra electrical pathway in Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome appears between the heart's upper and lower chambers and is present at birth. It's considered to be very rare. So the way that they explained it to me was that in my bottom left ventricle, because there was something causing my heart to have an arrhythmia, my heart was compensating and beating much faster than it needed to. But I do remember my doctor telling me that this is very rare. He hadn't seen it but maybe 1 or 2 other times in his career as a physician. This was a much older physician that was telling me this. And he was telling me that I must have a guardian angel, because most children that figure out that they have Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome don't find out until after they've passed away and they figured out why the child passed away, and it's because they were physically active. And throughout my entire life, I was always physically active. I'm not exactly sure why my body chose my senior trip to trigger this episode, but I'm very grateful that it happened the way that it did, because I did get taken care of the way that I needed to, and it didn't end up in something much scarier that could have very well happened to me. But to give you a little summary of everything that happened, my dramatic being told everyone, you know, I want to graduate before I have the surgery, just in case it's my last day. Because I was concerned. I was dramatic, yes, but I did know that heart surgery is not to be played around with, and that one small error could lead to something pretty devastating. So I just wanted to be extra precautious and at least graduate. So that is what I did. I remember my mom and sister telling me that there were complications and that it did take several hours longer than they anticipated to have the surgery be complete. Because there were some issues that came up, but I ended up doing very well, and I healed very quickly, and I went back to normal life very soon after. In fact, I was physically active within, I would say, 2 weeks after the surgery. I had things to prepare for, and it was actually for this organization itself, because I was competing in Miss Southeastern later that year. They have used the word cured. I have been to the doctor since, and they haven't had any issues. And I've been participating in CrossFit for quite a while now. So I would say my heart is fine, but I'm not restricted against anything. And in fact, I believe it may have been a year or 2 later, I went back to the Tower of Terror, and I rewrote that against my mother's will. And I was fine. No episode, no ER visit, no extra ablation. I was fine. And that's pretty much the end of my story. It's a pretty positive one. So if you can take away anything from this, let it be to listen to your body and take it seriously. And you know that something is wrong, definitely seek medical attention. The worst that can happen is that they turn you away. But just to make sure that you're taking care of your body, eating the right foods, drinking plenty of fluids, and making sure that you are getting plenty of exercise in your day. Because heart failure, heart disease, and diabetes, these are the main issues that we are seeing in our country. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, taking care of our bodies. We only have one, so, well, yeah. And I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you want to hear more, definitely subscribe to the channel so that you see what I post in the future. If you liked today's video, please leave me a little like down below. Again, there will be a link down below. It is for Children's Miracle Network, and all the money that I fundraise goes to a local hospital, specifically Children's Hospital in New Orleans, who is actually the amazing hospital that gave me my heart ablation, so that I can be here today talking to you. I hope everybody stays happy, healthy, and safe. See you later.